What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of The Arena. Today we're gonna preview the Super Bowl. It's in 2 days, and I know Oliver's already anxious for it. We're gonna talk about the trade deadline because if you watched last week's episode, I was proven right in a massive way. And then Conrad will hop back on again, just like last week. We'll get into some of the current events and political discussion, and we'll go from there. So, welcome, Oliver. How you doing? How are you feeling about the Super Bowl?
The anxiety just kicked in today. I mean, now I'm nervous. I think we got a better team than we did 2 years ago, which is insane to me. I mean, that 2022 team in my mind is probably the greatest Eagles team to ever exist, and this is this is insane.
Fair, fair. I think 2018 roster was maybe the best roster y'all had because I think the one big like offensive line has been consistently good. I
hmm
think you had more reliable edge rushers in 2018 than 2022.
I
You
mean, Sweat and Reddick though
Sweat and Reddick are fine. You had Chris Long back then, and
we did, but that defensive line was just. I'm sorry for interrupting. Just like I mean, that defensive line broke the sack record.
I mean, no, they did. I just think that when it comes down to like, yup, you need a sack in this moment, that
Oh,
defensive line is
I
better.
see. Yeah, no, Brandon
Which
Graham, Chris
Brandon
Long,
Graham strip sack.
insanely clutch.
Yeah. And then also running back. You had Miles Sanders the Super Bowl year, 2022. 2018, you
And
guys had Jay
Jay Ajayi,
Ajayi.
LeGarrette Blunt,
Yup.
Big Blunt fan, dude.
Dude, I love LeGarrette Blunt.
Dude, he came for 1 year and just started fucking
Dude,
killing it.
what's it called? Chris Long and LeGarrette Blunt. Yes, your team is better. I also think the Chiefs are massively better than they were 2 years ago. But dude, I think the Chiefs are better. Like, just look at the receiver room last like 2 years ago and this year.
Yeah, that receiving room is just leaps and bounds better. It's not even close,
Like,
but
Juju Smith-Schuster was wide receiver one for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
I think it was McCole Hartman.
I
He did more
mean,
damage to us, I feel like. I don't know,
Miko,
but
I mean, y'all got burned by Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney on those two touchdowns in the red zone.
and that punt return. Another underrated factor though in this game, our special teams is just so much better. I mean,
Special
not
teams is
Jake
better.
Elliott sucks, but like our punt return is just
Actually,
so much
actually,
better.
I think that I hate Harrison Butker to death. I hate that man,
Mhm.
but he is much, much, much better than Jake Elliott.
100%. Right now he is, and I hate to say that, but
Same.
I mean, where I mean, if you just want to go with position by position, like knock that out.
Now, I think that might get a little redundant,
That's fair enough.
but well, I think the two things for me in this game are if the Chiefs want to win, if they get pressure on Jalen, they win.
I don't know.
Not like, oh, Jalen's gonna crumble under pressure. Not in that sense. I just think you can stymie the Eagles' offense a little bit if you have Jalen running for his life back there.
No, I
And
agree, but I think there's more factors than just getting pressure on
oh,
Jalen.
100%. I mean, obviously, see, because the way y'all have won all three playoff games is you have jumped out to a lead and then just ran the ball down the other team's throat,
Yeah,
right?
I mean that's the Eagles' way.
That is the Eagles' way. However, do you remember the last time that the Kansas City Chiefs got blown out in a game?
No, what was that Raiders game in 2000 on Christmas, right?
Yeah, and even that wasn't a blowout. Just the offense couldn't like the defense played their ass off. The
Just
offense
couldn't
just
do
couldn't do
anything.
shit. What I
Yeah.
was really bummed out because I bet money on the Chiefs that day, and I was stuck in someone else's house on Christmas and had to dress up, and that was just a miserable time.
Sounds miserable.
It was.
And I brought this up the last two pods, but I think the way to ultimately beat the Eagles is, I mean, just hold the ball longer than us.
So
Just
literally, sorry to cut you off. My literally on the paper that I have in front of me for the Chiefs, I have Ken Mahomes matriculate the ball down the field.
yep, yep. Just
Literally,
tire
just
out that defense.
dink and dunk the ball down the field.
Yep, that's how Tampa killed us. What was it? Week three. I mean, they just deemed and dunked us. To be fair though, that week three game, Jalen Hurts had literally no receivers.
Fair.
I mean, that is a loss. We got our asses handed to us. That was the worst our defense looked all season, but I kind of like to write that one off just for the
I
fact that we had no receivers.
I also think if I'm the Chiefs, instead, I think the obvious choice is try to put McDuffie on AJ Brown. I would put McDuffie on Devontae Smith.
Yeah, Smith has scored clutch in these big games. I mean, he's always shown up. He's always done
He's
what he needs to do.
he is who Jalen looks for in a clutch situation.
He
Also,
is.
all three teams have gotten burned by this, and it's pissed me off every single time. All three teams that the Eagles have played forget to cover Dallas Goddard for like five straight plays every single time. And I think the Chiefs are just going to stick Leo Chanel or Nick Bolton on them, and that's not going to be an issue either.
I do. I mean, look, they're the worst. They're not the worst, but they're one of the worst teams in covering tight ends in the league. They're very bad in tight end coverage, and Goddard's playing his best football currently. I mean, and the way Kellen Moore used Goddard these last couple of games, I mean, it has been weird. He ran a fucking jet sweep with Dallas Goddard. What the fuck was that? It was a jet sweep with a tight end. I mean, I think we're going to see some weird packages with Goddard because that's what we've been doing all season. But I'm curious to see how they're going to cover him this game.
Me too. I think even like putting Justin Reed or Juan Thornhill on him is a possibility. Wait, is Juan
Yeah,
Thornhill still on the Chiefs?
I do not know. That's one of those teams where I just don't know the roster. They always just add some role player, then he becomes a superstar.
I mean, so do y'all, Zach Bond.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's fair. I mean, I think, but going to the Eagles though, I think the way we beat Kansas City is, like you said, just get out to an early lead, just score. I mean, if we are able to score the ball early and just keep stacking it up, don't take your foot off the pedal, just keep killing it. I mean, and obviously stacking Mahomes. That's the big one. That offensive line is really weak of the Chiefs. We need Jalen Carter to get in there and just kill him, or we need Milton Williams, or we need Moria Jomo just to kill them all.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. And I know it's been a storyline this week. I don't think it's that big of an issue. I think Jalen Carter will play in the Super Bowl, obviously. I don't
He's
think
sick, but
he's
he'll be fine.
the sick thing. Like, they'll be fine. Um, like I said, if I'm Kansas, like they put out stats and I don't remember them, but like Kansas City's like 49-1 or something like that if Mahomes gets his ball out in 2.75 seconds.
Yeah,
They are very, very good if he's getting the ball out quick. So I don't think he's gonna hold the ball. I don't think he's held the ball on for long. We haven't really seen like any of like the insane Mahomes plays outside like a couple, like the throw that he made to Travis Kelce for the touchdown against the Texans when he was literally horizontal.
yeah,
Notwithstanding, I think that's his play of the postseason so far.
easily, easily.
But I think that like to try to like wrap this up a little bit, I think it's going to come down to which quarterback makes more clutch plays. And while yes, Jalen Hurts has had plenty of clutch moments in his career, I unfortunately cannot bet against Patrick Mahomes when it comes to clutch time. I got the
Mhm.
Chiefs winning 41-38.
I'm gonna give you a hot take. I got
Mm-hmm.
the Eagles winning 38-17. I got us beating the shit out of them. I think
Okay.
I think we match up fairly well against this team. They can't stop the run very well. They don't have an answer at tight end. I mean, that corner room is phenomenal, but I think our offensive line is able to stop Chris Jones and that defensive line. That defense is phenomenal, but this is the game that we have been looking forward to for the last 2 years. This is
Mm-hmm.
the biggest game in Eagles history, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
including that 2017 Super Bowl. Every Super Bowl, this is the game I want to win the most. Like if we lost that last Super Bowl, it hurt, it stung. It didn't hurt that bad because we had 2017. We
Yeah.
don't have 2017 anymore. We lost to these guys already. I think we're not going to lose to them again. I think we're going to send the message to the league. I mean, we've been doubted all year. Everyone's been talking shit about Jalen. Everyone's been talking shit about how this isn't Jalen's team, it's Saquon's team. I think Jalen's going to have a great game, and I think we're going to beat the shit out of them.
I will be actually that is best case scenario for an Eagles win because I will be watching the game in Philly, but my friend lives in the middle of nowhere and it's gonna take a solid 20 minutes to get to Center City and get on
Yeah.
Broad Street after the game. So if y'all are winning in like a blowout fashion, it would make my life much easier logistically. However, I don't think y'all I like like the Doctor Strange meme where he only saw like one possibility to beating Thanos.
Yes.
I feel like the only way y'all win in a blowout is if Saquon literally has like if Saquon has over 100 rushing yards by halftime, y'all are gonna win.
I think again, we mentioned it earlier, but Tampa versus Kansas City. I see a lot of parallels to that game in the way of that offensive line is terrible on Kansas City right now. And this is the best defensive line they have faced all season, this Eagles line. And can they stop the big hitters?
I agree with you. At the same time, Kansas City at that time was literally reliant on Patrick Mahomes holding the ball for 4 seconds and chucking it to Tyreek Hill on every
A
single
hundred
play
percent.
for a
A
reliable
hundred
offense.
percent.
And while their run game hasn't been great this year because Isaiah Pacheco got hurt, Kareem Hunt has stacked up a couple pretty good games.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they'll be able to run the ball like, for 4 yard chunks.
They average 4.2 per carry, Kareem Hunt and Pacheco.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
Eagles defensive line averages, I think we only average 3 yards per carry.
So, okay. Um, sorry, I got distracted. But I think that the Chiefs offense in that Tampa Super Bowl was too reliant on the big play, which is a reason why they traded Tyreek Hill. I think right now they are perfectly fine just running jet sweeps for Xavier Worthy, just doing stuff like that. Because I think that Xavier Worthy is probably the most important player in this game. Because I don't think any of your corners are fast enough to like stay with him.
Maybe
And
Q would be my guess, or like maybe
Quinn
Coop.
Quinion. Oh, okay. See, there's obvious bias against Cooper DeJean being able to keep up with Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, no, that's
So
fair.
you can't blame me for that one.
I think Coop is our fastest corner though. Weirdly enough, I think
Maybe. I mean, he's probably your
him or
best
Q.
athlete. I think he's your best athlete by far.
Yeah, Conrad, do you have an opinion on this? Got a prediction?
I just want the Eagles to win. I don't
Thank
have a
you.
strong prediction. I'm from Pennsylvania. We want the PA team to win in this one. And if the Chiefs win again, um, they need to lose. They just need to lose.
That's fair. That's
I
fair.
100% agree.
I can't fault y'all for that opinion. Also, because oh no, I feel like it would be cool for the Eagles to win.
Yeah, I think it'd be
Like
fun.
once again, just like 2 years ago, this is a very win-win situation for me. If the Eagles win, I get to see a lot of my friends be very happy. I get to be happy for them. Saquon wins a Super Bowl, which I would like genuinely be ecstatic for. If the Chiefs win, I get to make fun of all y'all.
Yeah, exactly. It's a win-win.
It's a win-win
Now,
situation.
I do have to ask you, Noah. You're gonna have
Yes.
more knowledge on this. When do you think the parade would be if the Eagles do win?
Hold up. Someone texted me about this today saying that the weather looks really shitty for a parade.
Listen,
Okay.
I'm praying it's not on Valentine's Day or the day after Valentine's Day, because
No,
if it
it would
is
be I think it would be Wednesday
Wednesday.
or Thursday.
So it was the last parade was on Thursday, in 17,
Hmm.
which would give me about a day to fly in and a day to fly out. If I were to go, if we were to win, knock on wood. So we got to game plan this.
I think personally, I think Wednesday would be a better option just because I gotta
Me
leave on
too.
Friday. So
Me too.
let them come home from New Orleans. I think the Chiefs have done Wednesday the last 2 years
They did. I remember that.
because obviously last year that was not a fun. They're not going to do a parade again if they win for obvious reasons.
They will. They have. They're going to be the
No,
biggest
they
one.
they literally came out and announced that. Remember last year the shooting
Oh
happened,
yeah. Oh yeah. I
so they're
forgot.
not doing a parade again if they win,
Okay. Fair enough.
which is I think that's fair. But
Yeah.
if you want to switch gears, I've been waiting to talk to you for something for the last 6 days, Oliver.
Okay.
Because last week we talked.
Let me enter this first. I made a statement about the Lakers not being able to sign anyone or getting any big stars. 24 hours later, Rob Pelinka and God said, fuck it, let's make this man wrong. And they got Luka Doncic. I was in bed with my girlfriend. We're just talking about whatever. And fucking, I, you sent the thing where it's like, oh, Shams got hacked. It turns out he did get hacked, and they got fucking Luka Doncic.
All I'm saying is I tried to explain to you last week the track record that we have in doing this. There was no way that we were going to look at a Braun retirement in the face when you don't own any draft picks and say, nope, we're not going to do anything. Now, the Mavericks are stupid as hell. Once again, this is what happens when your franchise is run by a Trump supporter. In fact, his biggest donor, dumbasses, I guess, just want to spend time with each other and love each other. But
She's clearly stupid.
oh, 100%. Now, I will say it came out today that the Mavs GM has been getting death threats and things and
Not
racist
cool.
tweets towards him. That's not great.
No,
That's not what you're supposed to do. It was a bad move, but also, like I made my grading that down deals video today. I gave the Mavericks a B for what they got back.
for the Lakers,
Yeah,
AD's
because
phenomenal.
I that team is perfectly contended to win now,
Yeah,
and they may have sacrificed their souls to try to win a championship in the next 3 seasons.
I 100% agree with you on this one. Where it's like, I think it is a terrible trade. They should never have done it in a million years. But I mean, AD's not bad. I think
No,
they're in a good position to win it this year.
what I think happened that makes this look so much worse for them is they tried to excuse the trade by saying that Luka Doncic is out of shape and that he doesn't try on defense and that their defense was bad because of him. When they had a top 10 defense this season and a top 10 defense after the deadline last year, and Luka was doing a good job. Luka
I'm
Doncic was also their only source of offense against the Celtics because Kyrie Irving forgot how to play basketball,
That's true. Yeah.
right?
Nah,
And
I
on
it,
top of all of that, just on a pure human level, to not only uproot like because if you look at Luka Doncic, he came here when he was like 18. He's
yeah.
also like an intern. He's an international player, so like
He
Bray,
just bought a house in Dallas.
he just bought a house in Dallas for
I
$15 million.
exactly. I mean, it's just this. The move made no sense in any way. I
But
mean, I
and I think
oh,
just like trying to do that and like just like smear someone like that to try to make yourself look better is just a horrible thing to do
yes.
on a basic human level. However, I'm infinitely grateful to Nico Harrison and the Dallas Mavericks for giving me 10 more years of fun Laker basketball.
I
Because
respect it. I respect it.
the Lakers will always trade for a star. We don't sign them in free agency. We just trade for them
I I can't even refute that. That is true. That is my point. Yeah,
because
you guys.
we never have the money to sign anybody. The one time we had money to sign someone, we went and got Braun. Actually, the
Yeah,
two
well,
times that
you
we've had money
know,
to sign, the two
you
times that
got my
we've
boy
the two
in
times that we
2016.
the two times that we've had money to sign someone, we went and got Shaq and we went and got LeBron.
Hold on, we're forgetting 2016,
So
where you got the goat
what you gotta
himself, Luau
remember,
Deng,
of like the
not
2012 to
Luau Deng.
2018 was a very bad time in Laker history because Dr. Bus passed away and there was a lot of infighting between all the kids for who got control of the team.
Mhm.
And the brothers had control of the team for that 6 year span. And they're the ones that signed Lou Aldeng and Timothy Mozgov. And then
The goats.
Jeannie Buss and Magic Johnson came in and said, "Nope, we're running this now." And things got going, and Magic convinced LeBron to come to LA. And then Magic said, "I'm out of here," in one of the funniest press conferences of all time. And then Rob Pelinka since then has been standing on business.
I
Um,
like Rob Pelinka will do something where it's like, what? How are you still employed? And then like 2 minutes
I
later, to save his job,
legitimately
he'll do some beautiful move.
I don't think he's made a single bad trade because I don't blame him for the rush trade because he listened to LeBron and
Okay.
AD.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
And
with the
like
rush trade, that's fair. But like, I'm not gonna
what
say he didn't make a single bad trade. There's
two
definitely a few bad ones he's
which
made, but
ones?
I can't think of them off the top of my head. But he's
See,
fine.
the two shitty trades that we've made in the LeBron era is the Russell Westbrook one, obviously,
Yeah, that one was
and
bad.
then Magic Johnson decided to trade Ivica Zubac to the Clippers for Mike Muscala,
That was another bad one
which I'm
too.
real bad about still, because Ivica Zubac always kills us.
Dude, he's phenomenal. I like
He
Zubac.
is. I also used to call him White Tupac on the team for some reason when he was on the Lakers because I thought that was funny. And this is a very random tangent, but I was playing 2K with a friend one time, and I think he was using the nets and just chucking full court threes with Brooke Lopez, and I was just chucking full court threes with Zubac. And it was the funniest 2K game of all time.
That's how
But
we play college football, pretty much, right?
basically, but no, dude, it was what like last Saturday night, the Lakers just beat the Knicks without AD and held Cat and Brunson to like a very bad games for both of them. So already on top of the world. I'm already having a great time. And like an hour later, I get a text from a friend in my other group chat to talk about basketball. And it's like, there's no way this is real, right? And I'm like, nah, Shams. First, I thought it was a fake Shams account because Twitter. I thought it was a fake Shams account. Then I thought he got
Same. I
hacked.
thought it was hacked.
Then he tweets again saying, yes, this is real. and then like ESPN, Bleacher Report, all of them start reporting it, and my mom and sister got so mad at me because I think every 15 minutes for the next 48 hours after that trade, I would just go up to them and say, "We got Luca," because I was dumbfounded.
That's fair. I mean, I did the same thing when we got Saquon. I mean, like you got
I
the
had a
best
very
young player
negative
in the league.
reaction when y'all got Saquon.
I bet you
Um,
did. I bet you did.
I did, but nah, dude, it's insane, and the fact that basically Rob Pelinka said, "Yeah, no, Luca is fat. Luca is bad at defense. We're not giving you Dalton Connector, the other pick," and then he used that to get a 23-year-old center from the Hornets.
How do you feel about the Dalton Connect move? Because I know you were
Oh,
a huge fan of him.
okay, I love Dalton Connect. I'm very, very sad to see him go. However, the one thing Luca asked for when he came here and when he talked to Rob was a lob threat at center.
Mhm.
And Mark Williams, funnily enough, has the highest standing reach in the NBA, longer than Wemby's.
Mark Williams in my move, because in my head, and I think it was a great move. I love the Mark Williams move because it attacks a need that you guys need. I think he is legitimately injury prone though. That is the
So,
one thing where it's like he does get hurt a
yes,
lot.
he's only played like 80 games in 3 seasons,
Hmm.
but all none of the injuries have been like any that require surgery or any that should be chronic. And then the other criticism of him is that he doesn't try on defense, but I can't really blame him for that because he was playing for the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I can't blame him for not wanting to try on defense because like once again you're playing for the Charlotte Hornets.
Dude, that and like it,
And
it's a
also the other thing, right? Like for this season particularly, I think Jackson Hayes has looked pretty good in the last 3 games. And when Mark Williams is out there, I think his life is going to be extremely easy because Luca and Braun are just going to be throwing up lobs.
yeah.
Also, you know what else we got in the trade deadline?
Who?
We somehow got 2018 Braun back.
Oh.
Because dude, that game yesterday,
Oh, the 42. Yeah, he had like a 42,
he
8
had
and 1.
42 and 7. Dude, I think this is the most fun that he has had playing basketball in his entire career is this season. Because
I think
not only does he get to just like work with his kid and like just play basketball and like be on the same team as his kid, which he's wanted to do forever. Also, now you went and got him Luca.
dude,
Dude,
that's like
did you see the video? It's on the fourth quarter towards the end of the game. The Clippers sorry, the Warriors had made it close, and then the Lakers started to pull away, and there was like ref controversy, like whatever happened. And Steve Kerr, Draymond, Steph are all losing their minds. And Braun is just walking on the other end of the court, mocking them and laughing. And then in the first quarter, he hit like 4 straight threes, 2 from the logo, and then did the "Are you not entertained?"
oh my
Like it
God.
was one of the best LeBron games that I've watched in a Laker uniform. And then Steph dropped like 37. It was just a very good basketball game. But
Dude, and y'all are gonna be good in the next. I think with LeBron, next year's your window, or like maybe even this year for that matter. I
dude,
mean, do you think he comes back? That was my ultimate question. But
who? Braun?
Luca this year, you think he's?
Oh yeah, dude, Luke. I mean, he's gonna play either tomorrow or Monday.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
Ooh, I thought his
yeah.
injury was a lot longer.
No,
Okay.
it's just a calf strain. And he
Oh.
talked about it in his press conference. He said that this is the longest that he stayed out because he had the same calf strain like 3 times.
Hmm.
This is the longest time off that he's taken for that injury to try to like fully heal it and not have
Makes
it
sense.
come back again and again. So yeah, he's playing tomorrow or Monday.
You
Um,
just want to, yeah.
so
You just want
I
to touch on the other trades, by the way.
oh yeah, for sure. I want to talk about the Jimmy Butler trade really quickly
Yeah.
because yeah, I don't think they gave up that much. In all reality, they gave up their pick for this year and Andrew Wiggins
Yeah.
basically.
I actually kind of would. I like how the Heat got out with this. I like Andrew Wiggins on the Heat. I mean, he's much younger than Butler. Him and Hero.
Not really. He's only like 3 years younger than Jimmy.
No, Butler's 35. Andrew Wiggins is 30. That's
Oh,
five
okay,
years.
5 years. 5 years.
No, I
That's a
mean, like
lot.
I think I'm curious to see how that like tandem works. Hero, Wiggins, and Bam. I mean, I think it'll be a fun team. And plus, they have a lot more money now.
Yeah,
Just
for
saved
sure.
up. That Wiggins contract isn't too bad.
No, I think. Andrew Wiggins is a guy that if he buys into Heat culture, which is, it is getting a little old, but if he buys into that and if he locks in a little bit with Bam and Tyler, like you said, they have some other really good young pieces too. I think they'll be cooking.
I would love to see them get a superstar. I mean, like I would like I'm just thinking of someone who'd be bad. Maybe like an Embiid if he were to leave. I mean, imagine Embiid bought into Heat culture.
The thing is, their best player is a center. And you
Yeah, I
can't
mean
I don't
Bam.
think in this NBA, Bam and Joel Embiid on the floor at the
Well,
same time would
if
be a good idea.
no, but if you want an Embiid trade to work, it would have to be Bam back to Philly.
Oh yeah, I don't. That's why I don't think that the Heat ever do it. I get why. I also just think I don't think Joel Embiid's problem is like not buying in or anything like that. I think his problem is like simply his body gives up on him.
Yes, but I think he also at the same time, and I've been an Embiid like defender for the past year, like just so long, but this season just kind of shows perfectly how like I just don't think he gives a shit.
I
I
don't
don't think
know.
he
I
I
mean,
don't
he
know.
came back from injury and gave you a 30-point triple double.
No, he's phenomenal. I mean, when he's healthy, he's phenomenal, but that's the big caveat. I mean, when he's
So
healthy.
I think for the Warriors really quickly, yes, they handed Jimmy Butler $110 million on arrival, which is a lot of money for Jimmy Butler. But
Yeah.
I really my favorite part about this entire thing for Golden State is that Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond are all on 2 year deals.
I do not like Jimmy Butler on the Warriors very much.
Dude, it's I sorry to cut you off. I think it's an unbelievable fit.
You think so?
Yes,
I
because
don't think it's a great fit. I don't
when
know. I want
Steph
to hear you why.
Steph
Your
is
reason.
successful. Steph is at his best when he doesn't have to initiate everything. And
Yeah.
Draymond Green is not as good of an initiator on offense as he used to be.
Mhm.
However, somehow Draymond Green always drops like 15 points, which is like, season high for him on the Lakers. He hit a three in the first quarter yesterday and like drained that, and I was really annoyed. Um, he also smoked a layup when LeBron didn't try to guard him, which is funny. But so I think Jimmy Butler as your initiator, also all season, Steph has had three guys on him,
Yeah. Oh, dude,
right?
he's been phenomenal this year.
And I think with Jimmy being there, they have good young pieces like Brandon Podziemski and other guys that are good role players. You still got
Mhm.
Kawhi Leonard to be your big, rebounding guy. But I think Jimmy Butler is the initiator. Jimmy Butler being good in the spaces that offense isn't really good in, such as like the mid range game and stuff like that, is something that this offense has never had. Also, Kenny Beecham made a really great point today on his podcast that the Warriors have never really had a player that can consistently get to the free throw line. And
Yeah,
Jimmy
no, that's
Butler
true.
can consistently go get you to the free throw line and get easy points. He's also, I think he's obviously happy to be out of Miami. He got the
Mhm.
money that he wanted, and I just think that he's going to be a really good fit. Also, it's his first time playing with like other stars, like other bona fide stars.
Embiid.
Yes, but that was for half a season.
Yeah, I still think he should have stayed in Philly.
I think so too.
I
However, they picked
with
Ben Simmons over Jimmy.
no, okay, that's a misconception. No, it was Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler, and we'll not get into this. I do want to discuss one more thing before we switch over. Just the De'Aaron Fox trade. I love it. I
So
I don't
much.
want to go. I don't want to be on this for too long, but I think that may be obviously not cutting Luka. That was a phenomenal trade for everyone except the Kings. I think they got
Even Chicago. Chicago should have gotten more
Chicago.
back for Zach LaVine.
Yeah, but they need to rebuild. They
They
just
do.
need. I feel
And
like they need
if
to
you
get out
want
of
to
that
rebuild,
money.
then they should have traded Vucevic to the Warriors when they were begging for him.
That made no sense to me. Why don't you trade Vucevic? I don't get that.
I think they tried, but right, it's like you got to make the
I
salaries match, which is complicated, especially with the
yeah,
new CBA. And then the other thing is that I think they just ask for too much sometimes. And then even with Zach LaVine, like a year ago, year and a half ago, you could have gotten so much for Zach LaVine, and he's still playing really well. I
dude, he's balling.
honestly, I hate the fit of Zach LaVine in Sacramento. I think the
Dude,
Sacramento Kings are a really stupid team because if you
they
like,
reformed the 2021 Bulls.
basically Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Domantas Sabonis.
Dude, like that's a fucking terrible team. It's a horrible team.
Like on paper, those three are still good basketball players. Malik Monk is very, very good. You have a young guy, Keegan Murray, who's
I
pretty
like
good,
Keegan Murray. Yeah,
right? But like they're just all like good at the same thing. They're just all gonna shoot mid-range jumpers
bring
besides
back
Malik
Thanasis
Monk.
ball.
So I don't like that for them. And I also they also the picks that they got back all suck.
Hmm.
Like
They were terrible.
the 2025 Hornets pick
Uh,
looks great when you before you find out that it has
it's
top 10 protection.
top 14
Oh
protected.
shit, that's insane. That's even worse. And then
Yep.
they're just gonna get like 2 seconds from that. Um,
I.
for the Spurs,
Oh my God.
De'Aaron Fox and
Beautiful.
Victor Wembanyama in a pick and roll is nightmare fuel.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I might drive down to San Antonio just to watch them play. I mean,
As
that
you
is the
should.
most beautiful freaking thing I've ever seen.
As you should.
I'm so and I love Wimby. I'm so excited just to see how this works. I
Me
think they're
too.
going to kick ass, and I think, dude, I just love this move for the Spurs so much.
I think I think and all dude, they didn't give up Stefan Castle, they didn't give up Devin Vassell, they didn't give up
Sohan,
Jeremy Sohan, they didn't give up Keldon Johnson.
bro, they have their young pieces. They can see what works and doesn't work. I mean, it just
Basically, they're
they cooked.
they're on the same timeline as the Rockets.
They are,
They're like 2 years behind the Rockets.
but the Rockets have. I mean, but the Spurs have a superstar though.
I mean, don't sleep on Al Harrison Good. He's not as good
Oh
as
my
Wemby.
dude,
Obviously, he's
he's my Turkish king.
phenomenal.
I love him. I love Şengün. He just hasn't taken that step this year that he needed to.
I mean, dude, they put out the MVP ladder, and he was like top 10 in MVP, like top 10 in the MVP conversation
I
right
love
now.
Şengün. I love.
Like,
He's
so
phenomenal.
he's
I love
cooking.
him, dude. He
He's
is.
cooking.
I'm gonna go to a Rockets game this
You
week.
gotta
I'm
go
gonna
to a
try.
Rockets game.
Dude, they're like $8 tickets.
Oh, you gotta go, dude. Tickets for the Sixers, man. Whoever the Sixers played yesterday, the tickets were $2.
Oh yeah, man. They got the it's the process tickets.
Yeah, no, the Sixers are. Oh, of course, the Sixers suck. But then the one game I go to, Gershon Yabusele decides to play like prime Kevin Love, and Tyrese Maxey just has the game of his life. Now it was very fun watching Tyrese Maxey play basketball, and we talked about this last week. But it's just really annoying to me that the Lakers are like 10-1 in their last 11 games, and the one loss is the game that I went to.
I That's how the Sixers play, man. We just no predictability. I hate this team this year. I never liked the Paul George signing. I mean,
Okay,
I don't
last
know.
sports take, last sports
Yes,
conversation. How do you feel about Paul George not getting traded?
I wanted him gone. I mean, I kept sending you and Ian that thing where I was just like, I just want him off the team. I would have rather had Wiggins because that contract is better. I mean, like I hate that we signed Paul George. I did not like that contract. He's too old. He does not fit the team very well. I would have if it was up to me, I would have saved that money and just signed crazy depth. Signed an
Fair.
elite backup center, sign anyone you have, and then just let that team cook.
I will say, I will say, the one like big move y'all made getting Quentin Grimes from Dallas.
I love that move. It was a good move.
Um, I think next season, if this is like the roster, like yeah, getting like a backup center and stuff like that, but like if this is the main core of the roster, I think you guys are in a great spot next year, health permitting.
Yes.
Because
I
right now the lineup would be Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, Paul George, Gershon Yabusele, if you resign him, which you should, and then Joel.
Yeah.
And that is phenomenal. And then you
Dude, it's a
got
great
Quentin
lineup.
Grimes, Kelly Oubre Jr. coming off the bench.
My sexy king.
Exactly.
The Sixers are a very zesty team this year.
They are a very zesty team.
I mean, Philly, we have in Philadelphia, we signed a lot of like really beautiful light skinned players, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Jared McCain. I mean, it's a trend in Philadelphia sports at this point. But
That is true.
okay,
What is going on with her? It's like what is the damage that can be done? What is the
So I was going back and forth with someone on TikTok today, and he was like, "Oh, are you happy with what the government is spending your tax dollars on?" And I was like, "Helping the poorest people in the world get water and education? Yes, yes, I am. Spending $20 billion on a government contract for SpaceX? Nope, not happy about that." What I think is happening is they're gonna put out a massive tax cut for the top 1-2%, and they're
Hmm.
gonna need to pay for that somehow. And I think
Mm.
their hope of paying for that is like cutting USAID, cutting the Department of Education, like doing all of that. And I obviously it's like a lot of what they're doing is blatantly unconstitutional, but at the same time, I also think that it's a net benefit for us. And like we've kind of seen in like the last 2 days, where the more brazen they get, the more pissed off the people get, and the more pissed off the elected officials and the judges get. And I think the judges especially
Hmm.
are like the people that Biden appointed, obviously, but we have like Reagan era judges that are cutting down a lot of the bullshit that they're doing.
My
And
Trump era judge did.
Yeah.
yeah, that's that like what is annoying to me though, and I was saying this today to a couple other people, is we are now in a timeline where Ronald Reagan will appear sane in like 2 years, and then
Wild.
that's not great. You never want to be like what I compared it to is just like taking a 40-foot dive into a pool with no water in it,
Exactly. Dude,
which
that's
sucks.
exactly how it is. I mean, and especially with like the Elon stuff, like with accessing social security numbers and stuff like that. I I mean, that's just beyond partisanship. I don't want him to have my social security number. He's not popular, and I don't think he needs access to it. That's the private sector interfering too much with the with the federal government, and I
Th-
don't think people are for that.
No, I don't. I
That's
don't. I think um what's it called? I think in 2 years, any Republican senator that did not stand up to this, any Republican congressman, I think some of them obviously in like, Nowheresville and like Alabama and like Louisiana, Mississippi, obviously they'll win again. But in
Mhm.
like the areas where it's close, I think that the people that are most vocal in their resistance right now are gonna be the ones that are ahead of the curve 2-3 years down the line in a major way. Like I think Chris Murphy is going to be extremely powerful in the Democratic Party with the way that he has been cooking the last couple of days.
It's the only one talking.
I mean, Bernie, AOC, like the usual suspects, like they're doing what they usually do, but like of like fresh blood that's starting to talk, it's like Chris Murphy and Brian Schatz.
Dude, and by the way, they're both very progressive senators. I mean, in the United States Senate, it's the left who's speaking up, while the moderates are just focus testing everything, and it's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
And like electorally speaking, I mean, we're going to win the House. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I could have told you that like November 6th. We're going to win the House in 2 years. Senate is still a weird issue where we don't know who's running. We don't know where it's running. If Roy Cooper is running for that North Carolina seat, because it says Tillis isn't running, is from what I've heard. I think we'll win that North Carolina seat. Maine is weird because they love Susan Collins. I don't know if we'll win that Maine seat, but I think her time is done in Maine. I don't know, but we said that in 2020, right? I and the Senate though is just it's so tough. I think I could see us winning those seats, and then we lose in Georgia. We lose Ossoff if Brian Kemp wins. I mean, Brian Kemp runs.
Did you sorry Conrad, I'll let you speak in a second here, but did you see the speech that Ossoff gave?
No.
I don't know when it was, but he was talking about like he basically like, the little TikTok that I saw, the little clip that I saw, started off with him saying that like Abraham Lincoln would be rolling in his grave, seeing what the Republican Party is doing.
Yeah.
And
I,
it was a very, very good speech that kind of reminded me of the 2004. It was giving like that type of vibe that can like springboard something for him. Cause obviously like guys like Chris Murphy, Brian Schatz, like they are becoming household names right now as we speak. John Ossoff is a more well-known entity on the Democratic Party. Just because that race was so big and so important in
huge race.
2020
Yes.
and was like a separate runoff and that entire thing.
Hmm.
Um, but I just think that like that was a really good speech. I think they're starting to wake up. I think they spent like the first 2 weeks doing nothing and sitting on their hands, and they're starting to wake up, which I think is very important. And the other thing is you just have to be ruthless.
Yeah.
Like you got
Dude,
like so once again, I'm so sorry that I'm yapping for so long, but just what I've seen in like my own internet activity this week is like on the TikToks and stuff. When I get comments from Republicans now and like from the people in the cult, I will just full on like go full force at them. Like
Mhm.
I'll send you what I said yesterday, but like literally yesterday I responded to a comment and basically said I love seeing Trump voters comments because it makes me feel smarter about myself every single time. And I
Mhm.
basically like went on and just like made fun of them for 2 minutes. And I think you just gotta reinforce how stupid of a decision that they made.
You gotta every wrong decision he makes, you basically gotta run it into the ground and let them know it's wrong. Conrad, you have anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's just scary. It's just like it's been heavy over the past week, and like I don't really know what's going on or happening or like what they're cutting, and like man, I've just been calling my reps every day.
I was just about to say, like literally call your
Just
reps, please.
yeah, like have a little script for yourself, call your reps. Like there's not a lot we can do right now,
Hmm.
but just like be annoying. Like Kelly's office. Like they pick up every time for me. And dude takes my name down. I think I'm gonna end up with a response here soon. But yeah, I mean, do what you can during this time because
Yeah.
it is heavy. It is
And
heavy.
Senator,
I
call your
appreciate
senators, your House members, all that stuff. I mean, funny enough, I just called my rep, Troy Nels today. Like, just basically saying I don't want Elon to have my social security card. I don't think he needs it. I don't trust him, and I think what you're doing is shameful, pretty much.
it
And and
is.
and again, it's kind of like I don't know. Did you guys read the Ezra Klein like "Don't Believe Him"?
Hmm.
Like he's acting like a king because he can't be president. Like they can't put their names on any of this because as soon as they do, they're unelectable.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And like their constituents are the ones who are going to be disproportionately affected. Like
Like,
think about the
uh,
rural communities, like Vaughn, your education money, Vaughn. Good
Hmm.
luck funding your school with two
It,
like 5,000 kids in the county.
I mean, and I live in Texas. This has been a big issue in Texas for the past couple of years. The school vouchers scam, right? They've been trying to pass the school vouchers. If you know anything about school vouchers, basically the federal government pays for uh, Christian schools or well religious schools, but it's all Christian. And somehow Republicans keep voting against it in the Texas House because a lot of these counties, their biggest employers are the school systems, and and now with the federal cuts, they're fucked. So many of these rural counties in Texas, Pennsylvania, it doesn't matter. They're going to be screwed. They're going to lose their money because these voucher scams or just so they can pay for tax cuts as well.
100%.
And I think it's just like important to like reinforce the reasons like we voted the way we voted. And it wasn't
Mhm.
just like for the benefit of like other Democrats or cities or anything like that. We thought of friends and family who would be intimately affected by these negative things. And things are extremely tense with like people and families, but it's I don't know. That's one thing I wish people would see from like the Democrats is like they're not crazy liberals. Like we really do care about people and want to make the world a little better.
I
That's what I
think
think it means.
what the biggest issue with a lot of the people in the Democratic Party right now is that they do not possess the empathy gene whatsoever. They don't feel sympathy for literally anybody on earth besides themselves and their families. They do not care. I It is heart-wrenching that we are cutting funding from giving the kids in Africa and parts of Asia. We're
Mhm.
preventing them from getting running water. We are preventing them from getting the HIV medication that they need. We are preventing
Yep.
them from having a chance at getting an education. And it
I
is
would like to.
heart-wrenching that they don't care about it. And they're like, ooh, I want more that I don't want my tax dollars going to that. And they
Yeah,
believe what they're saying.
I think
Like,
this
And
country. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying, can you believe how stupid you have to be as
No,
a nation that 40% of people think that we actually bought 50 million dollars worth of condoms for Gaza?
no, it's dumb. I think just in general, American politics just has an empathy problem. I think we're not looking at the other side enough. We're not like we don't see the other person. We see a Republican or a Democrat. No, we're all Americans. We're all in this boat together. I mean, when we are when there is bad policy, what Trump is doing right now, it's affecting us all. Like, why the hell? I mean, the tax cuts. How is this going to help me? I'm going to lose funding. I can't. My class now is going from 20 kids to 30 kids. My kid's getting a worse education. I, we're losing money, and it just hurts us. And it's because they want to own the libs, or hell, Democrats do the same thing too. I hate to mention it, but it opened my eyes going to a rural community and seeing this, where Democrats will say these people deserve what they get, or stuff like that, and no, they don't. No one deserves the what Trump is doing to us. Even if you voted for him, you made a mistake. It was wrong, but I will still welcome you back into the fold. I will welcome you back, and I don't know. That's my whole spiel.
I think it's like a language translation problem where like we sometimes I feel like come off as holier than thou. And I think also too, I hate to say this, I think conservatives tend to be they don't have like the language to respectfully talk about issues. And it's kind of like almost coaching them through productive conversation. What is the core value you're talking about?
Mhm.
And let's like work out from there and see if we can come with something that addresses your rightful concerns, um, but also we can compromise and allow other things too.
See, I agree with you guys, but they'll be in my comment section, just like talking to
Mhm.
people that are Trump voters. When they have no like intellectual basis to believe what they believe, and it's
Mhm.
literally just because they've been spoon fed it by Elon Musk and Fox News and the media machine, it is extremely infuriating to try to consistently be nice to them.
And I 100% agree. And I see it. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Conrad.
Oh no.
But they are victims in their own way, where it's they were indoctrinated into this. I mean, when you have a constant, like just a constant, I mean, look at, like, I can't think of the word algorithm of right wing news. Like you have the Ben Shapiro, or you have who's even crazier now, Candace Owens, or just stuff like that, where it's like you keep being spoon fed these ideas that anything else is scary to them. They are victims in this all too.
See, I think some of them are. They also let themselves be victims because there's like a no offense, a lot of white people are scared that the minorities are going to replace them as the majority in this country, and they're scared
Yep.
that they're
Mhm.
coming to take our jobs. And me and Oliver talked about this off camera. The fact that we're seeing these deportations happen, but I'm sure there are illegal immigrants that come from Ireland, Italy, Spain, parts of Europe. I'm sure there's a ton of illegal immigrants that come from there too,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and that
And
we're not seeing them get chained and put on a flight. They literally
No.
they handcuffed people for an entire 14-hour flight to India, which our tax dollars paid for.
on a military jet on a military plane.
Exactly. Can you just imagine forced uprooted from everything that you've lived for like 10 years, 5 years, whatever it is, and forced to be handcuffed for 14
Exactly.
hours?
Exactly. It's terrifying. And I think the sad part about this is too, we're seeing a lot of immigrants who are in favor of this. I mean, me and Noah, both of our fathers are immigrants. And Noah, you're an immigrant yourself. But like, it's just crazy how much immigrant communities see this. They know how much it is to fight to get to this country, and they're like, yeah, send them back. Fuck
Yeah,
them.
because
I,
they once again, it's a sympathy problem because they say, "Oh, I came here the right way. Why can't they do it?" But
exactly.
what people don't understand is that our system and what Trump did the first time, in my opinion, is I think it was an inefficiency created on purpose so that they could ultimately force their people's hands and force them to come here illegally, and now they can deport them for a photo op.
I
That
actually
the
haven't heard that theory, but that's very
like
interesting,
the
actually.
system is just this why. okay, fine, you don't want illegal immigration. I don't think anybody does,
No, of
Mhm.
right?
course.
There's just too many
Yeah.
variables involved with illegal immigration where you don't want that in your country. And I think that is a very sane take that most people, like 99% of this country, will have.
Mhm.
At the same time, if you go in and you cut the app, you cut the funding, you oppose the bill that would hire more border agents and make it tougher to come into this country illegally, and you're not doing you're literally doing nothing. The money that it's going to cost to deport all of these people, to build infrastructure on Gitmo, get all those people there, fly Christy Noam's dumbass to Gitmo, the money that it costs to all of that, why not just build like a one, like, why not just build like a little holding center where like people have like a bed to sleep on and decent food at the border so that you can process them quicker?
Because it makes them look soft. I mean, that's the problem. They don't have empathy, and that's the whole the
Like,
circle around this
and
whole
then,
Well,
conversation.
also
sorry.
too. Oh no, I was gonna say like they don't keep them here domestically because like press would be all over it.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like Gitmo, like who's gonna see that? Like the New York Times put something together with satellite images on how the compound might work. We're talking about compound where like people are going to, where humans are of a certain type are going to be concentrated.
yeah,
Like,
and
oh my God.
it's terrifying. And a lot of countries outside of the United States do this as well, and it's never okay. They do it so 100% correct, Conrad. Media just can't get there. I mean, a lot of refugees coming into Europe, they get sent to Turkey because media suppression. The Turkish government's getting paid a shit ton of money by the EU and all of them, and like there's no media coverage. Australia, they do the same thing with their refugees. They go to what island? They go to Papua New Guinea or something like that. And it's since we can't see the problem, it's not a problem in their eyes.
Mhm.
And plus, these and a lot of these conservatives and a lot of these Republicans are. I'm not even going to say conservatives or Republicans. I'm just going to say our members of Congress. They don't see these people as people. They see them as invaders. They see them as pests, and they don't care how if they're not treated humanely.
And me and my mom were talking about this the other day because Apple came out with a documentary about Vietnam. So we were just talking about like just America's history globally. If you pride yourself on being the most powerful country in the world, if you pride yourself on being the richest country in the world, that also means that you have to help. If you want to be like the global policeman, that means that you have to be there to not only stop crime, but you got to be there to get the cat out of the tree too.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
people don't understand that. Like, literally, less money is probably going to clean water programs and educational programs abroad than what we're spending Musk to have his rockets blow up and pollute the environment even more.
Exactly. 100%.
Like,
And
if you want to cut waste, why do we need to go to space right now when there are millions of homeless people in this country?
for real. And I don't like Ronald Reagan, but and I think what makes America so great is we are that shining city on the hill. I mean, but why are we that shining city on the hill? We're that shining city on the hill because of our diversity. Well, give us your weak and your poor. Make sure that you will make us great. Or the immigrants will make us great. Our people make us great. It's not America makes America great. It's the American people make America great. And that's what we have lost in this country is we have lost that ability to make us great because it's just so divided. If that makes any sense, I think that we just need to get along more, pretty much.
100%. I think I like because, well, I know for a fact that if you put a starving kid in front of anybody, they'll be like, yes, please give him food or give her food.
Oh
Right.
yeah, no doubt.
Right.
Mhm.
No doubt.
But
Yeah,
because it's so abstract, because we don't see it, because our media doesn't report it, people don't realize what they are sacrificing in the name of Doge.
Hmm.
yep,
And
It's
it's just a damn shame.
it is. It's disgusting. I mean, it simply is disgusting that our media doesn't report on issues like this. They like to
I
see like Jeff Bezos's divorce or what gets them clicks. You mentioned it like two pods ago. What was it? How much? What was the? It was that like climate change and Elon Musk got the same amount of coverage. What was it, John?
Jeff Bezos going to space and climate change got the same amount of coverage on CNN,
Exactly.
which is
And
like, sorry to cut you guys off. In 20 years, in 20 years, in 30 years, when we do a retrospective Germany style and be like, how the hell did this happen? And how did we end up here? The number one culprit is going to be our media.
yep, 100%.
Because not only are you selling out because you want Trump back in office because it means that more people will watch your news, you're also sensationalizing stuff. You're also not like, there's no critical thinking left in media anymore.
Hmm.
Like, I think
No,
anybody with a brain could realize that Donald Trump's whole ploy of, oh, we're going to build the Gaza Strip into the Riviera was just to distract from the fact that he got his ass kicked by Mexico and Canada the day before.
field his own with shit.
Exactly. Like literally what Steve Bannon said to do in 2019.
Mm.
It's a good
But
strategy.
it's a phenomenal strategy because the American media is dumb and the American people are unfortunately quite stupid.
Yep.
I think people are getting smarter to that. I haven't heard as much prolonged outrage about Gaza, and they retracted it pretty quickly. But I think everybody's pretty focused on like the dismantling of government and how the courts are going to rule right now. And
And
like,
I think that anybody that has I think the Supreme Court is, a massive question mark because Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito have proven repeatedly that they can be bought and sold.
hmm
But
yeah,
I think that overall, so far, the courts have been a very encouraging sign to hold this administration in check. I think the American people are making their voices heard. Once again, talking about the issue with media, 50 protests in 50 states, 2 days in a row should be covered. It should be
mm,
wall to wall coverage that is happening in this country. Like they're
yeah.
even organizing protests in Alaska. That's how mad people are,
Yep.
right? Why is that not coverage? But I'm sure that every network spent a couple 100 minutes this week talking about Kanye West at the Grammys.
Yep. It's disgusting. I mean, it just does. Media shouldn't be. Media should be able to turn a profit, but at the same time, we need an unbiased media source where you aren't turning a profit. Just report the news. And
And
I hate Fox News, but was it shut up and dribble? Shut up and report the news.
100%. And I think Donald Trump knows that too, which is why they're going after PBS and NPR because they are public news stations and they
Like,
will tell you what to do. And I think that just what's happened to media, and I think it goes hand in hand with why Republican congressmen aren't doing anything right now, because a Democratic senator was like speaking about a Republican congressman like on anonymity and basically said that when asked why aren't you standing up, they said what happened. Look what happened to Adam Kinzinger,
Yep.
and I think
Yep.
that's valid. At the same time, I don't think that the way that this has gone in 2.5 weeks, I don't see a future in like 3 years from now where Donald Trump is still like a touted figure in this country.
I I mean that's what I thought in 2020, right? That's what we thought after January 6th. I
And
mean,
I
we'll
think,
see.
and I once again, I think that's Democrats' fault because if Merrick Garland had prosecuted his ass for January 6th, the first thing that they did in office was to prosecute him, it would have been fine.
Yeah, that's what happens when you put a federal judge in that attorney general. Maybe put in a
Just
prosecutor next time.
maybe put him prosecutor.
And it's ridiculous. But I think too as well, and just like with the whole media stuff, it's crazy that I mean, it's crazy that we as people don't get a say in what the media reports, I think. I mean, obviously you can make your own show, you can do your own thing, but odds are you won't get coverage or people won't see it. But the fact is you got to keep pushing and you got to keep making sure that your voice is heard and you know what you want to hear or I don't know, just tell people.
And I think what we've all realized is that the people in charge, the only two things that they care about are clout and money.
Hmm.
They want to feel the self-importance and they want to get more money. So
Yep,
hurt them at the bank account and bruise their egos.
exactly.
Time magazine putting Elon Musk behind the Resolute desk on their cover. Exactly,
Yes,
Conrad.
guess.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Donald
Yep.
Trump had a mini crash out in front of cameras because of it.
He,
Like they're not
That-
suited to. They're gonna. I think Donald Trump and Elon Musk are legitimately going to like. If it's not already, I think Stargate kind of started it a little bit, where like the
hmm
Trump staffers were mad at Elon, but I think it's just gonna more and more. And what we've seen for both of them is that they grate on people and will ultimately lose them. And this is like
Elon Musk.
this is the final
Think about
boss.
just think about like the power dynamic and how much leverage right now Elon Musk possesses over Donald Trump, strictly from like a game theory perspective. Like he is just Trump is explicitly trusting him to do what he needs to do.
Hmm.
Like you don't think Elon had placed like a few booby traps to like save his ass.
Exactly.
Like ultimately, it's kind of come down to who's smarter. And I hate to say, but Elon Musk is infinitely times more smarter than Donald Trump.
Not politically.
Not
Not politically in
politically.
the slightest. Donald
Mm-mm.
Trump is a
Yeah.
political genius. I think,
I
and,
agree.
and
I agree.
I
I
think
don't
I
think
would like, but I think if it is a who is going to be more popular over time, Donald Trump wins that every single time. It's not even fucking
100%.
Hmm.
close. I, I, I think if Donald Trump wanted to get rid of Elon, he could do that no difficulty at all, no difficulty. I think
Like
it is only a matter of time. Someone gets in Trump's ear and says, this Elon guy's he's really trying to steal your he's really trying to steal your spotlight. And I think this Time magazine thing is a perfect example of it's getting under Trump's
even
skin.
it will. And Donald Trump is going to the Super Bowl just because he wants to get that applause from the crowd and feel like he's king,
Hmm.
right? That's literally why he's going. No sitting president has ever gone to the Super Bowl before because they're usually too busy doing their jobs. But
By
Donald
the way, another reason the Eagles should win the Super Bowl. We won't go to the White House.
That is true. That's very base.
Straight up, we didn't go in 2017.
That is true. That is true. I will give you all that. But what I'm saying is that I think what the talking point has to be from us, from everybody with a notable platform on the Democratic media side, is Elon Musk is actually the president, which is why Donald Trump has free time to fly to New Orleans for the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Right? There's no other.
Exactly.
Why, when there is an egg, like my mom went to the grocery store yesterday, there were no eggs there.
They're rationing them.
Right? So why, when that is happening in your country, once again, supposedly the superpower on Earth doesn't have eggs to feed its people?
Hmm.
Well, not only with the eggs because of the avian flu, they're starting to like send off flu A samples to be like further typed or something like that to see if it's bird flu for us. Like we are also perhaps on the precipice of like uh, I'm- I don't want to say a pandemic again because like oh my gosh man we can't handle that. But like that has the potential to be scary too.
Hmm.
I want to pivot and ask y'all a question. Do you
Yeah.
think that not Pete Hegseth, not like the people from the Department of Defense that we see on camera, but actual generals, like actual active generals and military members, do you think if, say, like God forbid, a pandemic happened or shit hits the fan in a really bad way, do you think there comes a time where they step in?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think unfortunate, not even unfortunate. Donald Trump is the elected president of the United States. Until there's proof otherwise, I think he's going to remain in that position. Let him fuck up as much as he will. I think that's what will happen, pretty much.
See, the thing is, that is normally the way to go in a US presidency.
Hmm.
However, I think right now we're dealing with a European power grab, or in what we've seen in other countries, not just Europe, but what we've seen in other countries around the world that's never happened in the United States, right? And
Hmm.
I don't think that any action taken by literally anybody would be unprecedented at this point. And once again, we're only 2.5 weeks in.
I don't know. I just don't see that
Like,
happening.
I don't know, man.
Did you
Because
read the letter today of the FBI official?
No.
I didn't read it, but I know what it said.
What was it about Cash Patel and taking money from Russia?
No,
Hold on,
I'll let Conrad do it.
here's the letter. It will probably take me like a minute to read, so I don't want to take it like too far. So just cut me off whenever. Uncommon Sense was a common vice. That's the title of it. Those with knowledge of the United States Marine Corps will recognize the irony of this title. I wish its words were not true, but as I write this, I believe they are. Currently, there is an effort to call a significant number of career special agents from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. This is an unthinkable action that will gravely undermine the security of the nation well beyond what many of our citizens are aware. For those seeking to raise their awareness, I offer this vignette free of any of political bias or moral judgment. It is not about any one person, but an amalgamation of multiple FBI special agents. I am the coach of your child's soccer team. I sit next to you on occasion in religious devotion. I am a member of the PTA. With friends, you celebrated my birthday. I collected your mail and took out your trash while you were away from home. I played a round of golf with you. I am a veteran. I am the average neighbor in your community. This is who you see and know. However, there's a part of my life that is a mystery to you and prompts a natural curiosity about my profession. This is the quiet side of me that you do not know. I orchestrated a clandestine operation to secure the release of an allied soldier held captive by the Taliban. I prevented an ISIS terrorist from boarding commercial aircraft. I spent 3 months listening to phone intercepts in real time to gather evidence needed to dismantle a violent drug gang. I recruited a source to provide critical intelligence on Russian military activities in Africa. I rescued a citizen being tortured to near death by members of an outlaw motorcycle gang. I interceded and stopped a juvenile planning to conduct a school shooting. I spent multiple years monitoring the activities of deep cover foreign intelligence officers, leading to their arrest and deportation. I endured extensive hardship to infiltrate a global trafficking organization. I have been shot in the line of duty. Something else about me. I was assigned to investigate a potential crime. Like all previous cases I have investigated, this one met every legal standard of predication and procedure. Without bias, I upheld my oath to this country and the Constitution and collected the facts. I collected the facts in a manner to neither prove innocence nor guilt, but to arrive at resolution. I am now sitting in my home, listening to my children play and laugh in the backyard, oblivious to the prospect that their father may be fired in a few days. Fired for conducting a legally authorized investigation. Fired for doing the job he was hired to do. I have to wonder, when I am gone, who will do the quiet work that is behind the facade of your average neighbor?
That is
It's
incredible.
That's phenomenal. I
Like,
mean,
I don't think people know what they've done, and as much as they're like government doesn't help anything, like we can find out in some really big scary ways. And like I understand like a lot of these preventative measures and stuff you don't see benefit of. It's they see it as like a cost, but like you can't like you're mitigating risk. And what does like the best prevention system, like it's only going to cost you anything because nothing will result from it, right? It prevents everything. And like, I don't know if people understand what they just gave up.
They
Safety,
definitely don't.
security,
I don't
just
think
They
so.
they don't understand that when you got the CIA, you got the FBI, you are literally gift wrapping more like harm being done to American citizens from people like Putin and Iran, North Korea, China. All of them are probably giddy right now with what's happening in this country. The Taliban is probably so freaking happy that Donald Trump is president again because
Oh,
they
I
can just
bet.
they can they can do whatever the hell they want now because we're literally like we are putting people in charge of these processes that A are not qualified, B no one who is an active FBI agent is going to respect Kash Patel.
No,
Like
and
they're not. Like he is a idiot. He is a conspiracy theorist, and like quite frankly, he just gives a bad name to all Indian people everywhere. And I would very much like him to be out of the public spotlight.
and that is the cabinet pick that I am most scared of is Kash Patel. I mean,
And
he is
the
scary.
the video going around is Stephen Miller, the guy that wrote Project 2025 and one of Trump's closest allies, literally saying, yeah, we looked at the voting records of everybody at USAID, and 98% of them voted for Kamala Harris or another left leaning candidate. So that's why we're gutting the program.
That's
This is
wild.
literally what Mussolini did in Italy. It's what
Yep.
Stalin and Lenin did in Russia, and it's what Adolf Hitler did in Germany.
I mean, it's crazy. And it's terrifying that and what is the old saying where it's like, there won't be a revolution, but you're just gonna start losing rights or whatever. Like they're doing it quietly. They
Yeah,
know this is unpopular. Americans don't like this, and they're gonna do it either way.
but
They don't care.
once again, it just comes back to who the American people are as a whole. We are
Mhm.
easily distracted, we are easily manipulated, and we quite frankly like lack critical thinking skills as a group, and we lack the urgency to just get up off our asses and do something.
And I, I I don't know about that. We are very easily distracted, but I'm not gonna say the American people as a whole. I think we're just getting indoctrinated. We're getting in like purposefully, well, we're getting distracted on purpose. They're trying to divide us. They're trying to make sure that we don't come together and see what damage they're doing to us.
And I think they're failing in that. I think it's slowly starting to happen.
Oh, it is.
And I think when people realize that the cost of nothing will go down, the cost of things will get more expensive. They're not making any more money. They're not getting any more help moving out of their parents' house and getting a job. Literally, not like specifically the younger men, like the Gen Z men that voted for Donald Trump. When you realize that literally nothing in your life will improve because of this, and in fact, things will get much, much worse, then hopefully you stop being an incel on the internet and you go do something to actually benefit your life.
Yeah.
I think we're like foreseeing the inevitable conclusions of like cutting costs. And like it kind of it breaks my heart a little bit because whenever a consulting firm would come into places like I've worked at, um, mostly like hospitals and stuff like that, stuff
Mhm.
always got worse. The outcomes got worse, the human connection got worse, care got worse, but we were meeting like metrics. And it's just like, you don't know what you stand to lose, guys.
I
Hit it.
think. Oh, wait, really quickly, just a quick pause. Oliver, you want to turn on
Yeah,
your light
I
really
was gonna
quickly?
say, dude, my lights are crazy.
You're chilling, you're chilling, you're chilling. We can take like a quick break too.
It got
Y'all,
real dark real quick.
but both in terms of your lighting and this conversation,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
fine. Like I think that's fine. On a sense of more positivity, I think once again people are starting to come together. We did have 50 protests in 50 states, which is huge.
Hmm.
Like I think that is and I think most importantly, you have to hurt them with their wallets. And Target is already seeing the impact of what they did with the DEI policies. Um, Tesla has taken a massive hit in Europe, and I'm sure when the numbers come out for what's happening in this country with Tesla, they're not going to look great. I don't know when their next earnings call is, but their stock has already fallen. And just in general, just I think for Donald Trump to hurt him, all you have to do is bruise his ego, which is very easy to do because bro is also constantly online and has his people tell him what's happening.
Yep.
Because that is literally the only thing he cares about. But I think for all the oligarchs involved, Meta, Facebook, or Meta, Amazon, all of Elon's companies, just hurt them with their wallets. Don't buy stuff on Amazon. Go buy it directly from the place that you want to get it from. Go to the store and
Exactly.
buy it. Like,
People
And
are
we
doing
yes,
talked,
that.
yeah, and we talked about that last week, funny enough. And what I would love to see from the next Democratic president is just systematically taking down these oligarchs. Just that should be your rule number one thing you
I
do.
think
Just like go after them, make sure that their pockets are hurt. If they did anything illegal, don't be afraid to arrest them.
once again, the Biden administration has been the one that went after them the most. There were literally
Hmm.
active
Yep,
investigations on literally all of them by the DOJ and the FCC,
exactly.
right?
If you're anti big tech, vote Democratic.
Basically.
Hmm.
And I think that once again, that is a major thing that would have happened if Kamala Harris was president. Oh, side note, this was just really
I don't
funny
know.
from yesterday's Lakers Warriors game. Stan Van Gundy was on the call. Um and they showed Kamala Harris at the game because she's a Warriors fan. Doug is a Lakers fan. So they were at the game at Crypto at Staples Center. And
Mhm.
Stan Van Gundy literally goes, "I wish she were someone else, somewhere else right now on national
That's funny.
TV."
Base.
So based. I don't think his color commentator expected it whatsoever. He was like, "Oh, okay."
I don't think he did either.
Nah, not at all. But um, yeah, dude, like I think Linda Khan stays at her job if Kamala gets elected. She was phenomenal as the
Oh,
FCC chair.
Hmm.
that's the thing with Kamala that always kind of was like a little sketched out about is she is very close to these tech companies, and that was like for a Democrat, she got really close to them, and that's the reason. What was that union? The stupid guy. Not the auto one. The Teamsters. They didn't endorse her because
Mhm.
she didn't commit to keeping Lena Khan.
Oh, I did not know that. That is
No, yeah,
massive,
she
massive fraud.
never she was so Biden was going after a lot of these tech companies. She was pretty pro tech. Like that's one of the reasons I think that didn't help us is that she never really spoke out against big business. And
See,
Hmm. Try
specifically
to be
with
a
the tech,
moderate.
exactly,
she
moderates
did
keep hurting us.
100%. I think specifically with the tech companies, I think the individuals in at the top of those tech companies, Zuckerberg, Bezos, Elon, whatever, you gotta keep them in check. But the actual things that the companies are doing, you can't like you gotta make sure that they keep innovating. Cause I think in the new era, like type of Cold War relationship that we have with China, I think tech is like the new nuclear war or nuclear weapon.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Like tech innovation, like we saw what happened when DeepSeek released last week. We saw what a shock the US stock market had
Yeah,
and just how scared all of the companies got very quickly. But
Think about this. Like, we need to decentralize just the knowledge. Like, when were we most innovative as a country, and when were we the most ambitious? Like I feel like arbitrarily everybody thinks of like the 50s, 60s.
mhm,
Like, literally, we put a man on the moon, and like we did that through another like school of economic thought, and that's
100%.
like
exactly.
I
that's the
think
solution to all this.
The first idea in someone's head shouldn't be, oh, how much money am I going to get out of this? It should be, oh, how can I help out? How can I innovate?
mhm.
Hmm.
And coming from someone that was a very pro business, pro capitalism dude just like 2 years ago, even like last year, the argument to a higher tax or a wealth cap, like you're not going to make anything after your billionth dollar. My argument has always been you cut innovation if you limit how much money someone can make. At the same time, reevaluating that argument and reevaluating the issue, tech is so concentrated. Every industry is so concentrated now at the top that there's
Hmm.
literally no incentive for someone to get in.
Exactly.
You get
Like,
gobbled up. You get gobbled up.
besides some very specific things and some very niche markets, there's literally no incentive to do anything. Because if you come up with a new product, Amazon's going to make it in China and it'll come here much cheaper than what you as a small business can sell it for. If
And
Exactly.
and they own the selling data. So they
you know,
see like your product selling well, they can copy your product, like
100, because
undercut the price.
if
And like that's what they
like
do.
a specific thing that the next president should do, Oliver, in just adding on to that, Amazon Web Services should get separated from Amazon
Oh my God, yes.
expeditiously.
I think why should the why should I be able to watch Thursday night football, host my website, buy books, get my medication delivered. What else do they do? I mean, it's just all on one
Buy
company.
groceries, Whole Foods.
Exactly. Whole Foods. What else do they own? They're making a car, aren't they? Some shit like that.
Maybe they might be, dude. Who
Why
knows?
they're going to space? Why does my book, the place where I get my books, why do they need to go to space?
Mm-hmm.
And I
Right.
think the same should happen to Google. I think the same should happen to
Yeah.
Facebook, and I think the same should happen to all these websites.
100%. And I don't think that's cutting innovation. I think that actually will make innovation much more popular in this country and will make
Exactly.
innovation because what happens is, and I think I wanted to use this analogy earlier when we were talking about like how far we've fallen as a country. I think we've gotten just very complacent, like, oh, America's the best, America's the greatest country in the world. We have grown up hearing that. And now I
Yep.
think we've just gotten very complacent. I think it's kind of like the athlete or the team that is just really good for a really long time. And then you just stop putting in the effort, you stop putting in that work, and you just like fall off.
I'm
Mhm.
listening to the Jeff Pearlman book about Bo Jackson,
Hmm.
and I basically just describes his life. He was like, I just naturally always gifted. He never had to work out. He was always the best at whatever he did, and he never worked out. And one day he just breaks his hip. He gets like a crazy hip injury, and he's like, I never had to work out to get back to where I was before. Everything just kind of worked out for me.
Hmm.
I think that's
Like,
where we stand. I mean,
like,
our hips are broken right now. We need to just get
like,
stronger.
no offense to a guy like Allen Iverson,
Hmm.
but you compare Allen Iverson to Kobe, they came in at similar times,
Yep.
and you see how their careers played out. And Allen Iverson, once again, phenomenal athlete, like cool dude, like nothing against
Yeah.
Allen Iverson whatsoever. However, you can clearly tell that his ideology to how he approached his basketball career versus Kobe Bryant's ideology to how he approached his basketball career
Practice.
were massively different. And
Yeah.
that's why Kobe Bryant played till 2016 and Allen Iverson was basically out of the league by 2010.
Yeah. No, and I mean Shaquille O'Neal as well. I mean Shaquille O'Neal. I think if he legitimately practiced, got in the gym and all that, I think he would have been the best player of all time.
100%. He could have been.
And
And
That's
I think with all of these tech companies, they've been so good, they've been so innovative, they control so much of the market. There's no need for Apple to try anything like massive with their phone or to see what their software can do. There's
yep.
no need. There's no need for Amazon to come up with better products or like a better way for us to buy books or a better way to just like sell books in general, right? There's no need for
Yep.
any of these companies to innovate because they make so much money already that they can just sit on their asses and make money.
Exactly.
And if you limit how much power and what they have, then you can go from there. And I don't think we've had like a union busting law put in since the Sherman Antitrust Act. And I think we
Yep.
need one that specifically targets the new era companies that we have because that one was designed to go after Carnegie and Rockefeller,
Yep.
mhm.
right? And
We need a trust bus.
we do in a massive way. I think
I
you do that, the American economy takes off like nothing else again.
oh my gosh. I think if you justify it as like a tax on big business who subsidize and make competitive little business, to be like, yep, we want you guys, we want to diversify our supply chains. We want to rely on domestic like domestic manufacturing a little bit more. Here are these like massive loans to get you started or updated on some like initiatives, maybe some like green initiatives, or like
Mhm.
do a grant for your business, like 750,000 for a specific part. I
I
don't know.
think I think what should happen as a country, like I think what government policy should be is kind of like Shark Tank in a way where you're pitching your idea and you may or may not get funding. I
Hmm.
think the government should have a program set up where you can pitch an idea, and if it's something that will meaningfully impact the citizens of the United States of America, you get funding for it. And not just if you're a multi-billion-dollar conglomeration or a millionaire or billionaire that comes up with an idea. If you're an everyday person sitting in Pennsylvania, sitting in Texas, sitting in New Jersey, sitting in North Dakota, Alaska, literally anywhere, if you have an idea for what can make the world a better place, you should be able to pitch your idea to the government and get funding. Obviously, with controls and prove that you can actually do it, like not just like willy nilly, like, oh, I came up with an idea in the shower one day. and now I
Yeah.
want $1 million from the
Yeah,
government. Like,
I
flush it
think
out. The other just quick policy idea, like the money that the government gets from making these companies pay their taxes, making these you know, trust busting, the money that the government makes in return should be used to subsidize small businesses.
Yeah, I agree. I
100.
love that.
I think if you want to raise the minimum wage, like again, I think you should tax big business and help the little guy, help
Mhm.
like the little guy in rural Pennsylvania who like maybe subsidize at least part of that increase in the minimum wage.
Yeah, dude, like Farmer Dan in
Hmm.
Pennsylvania should get more help from the government than Elon Musk gets.
Exactly.
Yes.
I think
And
that's the
it's
crux of this argument.
it's socialism for the rich, but not for the poor, pretty much.
100%. That's what they do.
And
Like, I've been wanting to make a video about this for a long time, and I just keep procrastinating it. All of our sports leagues are socialist as hell.
oh my God,
Hmm.
yes,
They're all
yes,
socialists. And guess what? That's why they're all successful as hell.
they work
Hmm.
out for that exact reason.
Exactly. And I'm not saying go full socialism, right? Like, I think there's a
Yeah,
happy medium between what Europe has and between what we have, where you can have responsible capitalism that still prioritizes innovation and entrepreneurship, but also protects the consumer and protects the person.
Exactly.
And I
Government
think
should be
that's
working with the person, not with the business.
and I think that's the platform that the next candidate for president from the Democrats should have.
I agree.
Really
I
quick.
think like, oh, sorry, go
Oh
ahead,
no, go
Noah.
right ahead. Go right ahead.
No, I don't know if like the messaging around like buying into like American exceptionalism as well as like more of like, I don't know, pioneering. I feel like Americans have this identity of like risk taking
Mhm.
Yeah,
and like playing into that, be like the government's going to help you take a risk. Like the pioneers back in the day, you're going out to find your own like you're going out for your own gold rush. It's a like choose your adventure.
Because right now, like the age of American exceptionalism is over.
Hmm.
Like American exceptionalism is dead, and like I don't know if y'all saw, um, over like a third of eighth grade students scored below average in let me pull it up, sorry. um yeah, a one third of eighth grade students scored below basic in reading, more than ever before in this
crazy.
history's report card assessment. So, and I think this is a function of Donald Trump. This is a function of new era republicanism, where you're not
Hmm.
prioritizing education because the dumb people vote for you.
What was it? No Kid Left Behind.
Yeah. Like this is just a subset of that. It's not the Department of Education that doesn't work. It doesn't need to get gutted. The problem gets much worse if that's gutted, because I've heard that argument from people the last couple of days. It's that you have to have better programs that help these kids out.
No, exactly. I mean, you got
Like,
to make sure that the kids are able to understand and comprehend the stuff that they're being taught. You can't have them keep failing upwards, and that's what we're doing in this country. Where, I mean, I know for myself, I probably should have been held back a year. I mean, I'm very dyslexic, and I mean, but it didn't work out for me like that.
mhm. like
I throw a
I
hot
don't.
take in here.
Mhm.
Like with like holding I feel like we should have an honest conversation about males, kind of bringing it back to like how young males are struggling.
Hmm.
Like young males just take a little bit longer to develop, like their brains take a little longer to develop, like
Yeah,
self-control, everything like that. I would propose, not because like not so much because of the intellect, but the emotional intelligence, holding male boys back a year, have that become like standard practice to set them up for greater success in the schooling environment as we have it now, while trying to make changes within that schooling environment to make it maybe more interactive with the male population. I feel like having a little boy just sit in a desk all day isn't good.
Mhm.
no,
Not at all. As
it
someone
doesn't
that
help.
perennially got yelled at because I was too fidgety in school, like I'd get yelled at for doodling, I'd get yelled at for reading a book. Um, like imagine having a teacher having to yell at me because I'm reading a book.
Yeah, and like I feel like we need to rethink school a little bit. We need to
And
rethink what education
I
is.
like where you're coming from. I just think instead of like holding them back and giving them the stigma, like, "Ooh, I got held back" grade, I
Yeah.
think that we just like our curriculum has to focus on emotional intelligence.
Yep.
Like we're not raising emotionally intelligent people.
hmm
Like
Feels like we're raising work outputs.
Yes.
basically,
Exactly.
basically, because you're taught, you're basically indoctrinated in the fact that if you don't go to college, you're a failure,
Yep.
right? No offense, Oliver, you're not a failure. Um,
Thank you.
no problem, right? You're basically indoctrinated in the fact, and then once you're done with college, you're a failure if you don't have a job right away, if you're not making money, if you don't have a girlfriend, right?
Hmm.
Mm.
So when you have literally been indoctrinated with that information, when it doesn't work out in that perfect cookie cutter form, and you don't go to college, or once you graduate college, you don't get a stable job, and you're working retail, or you're working like a normal minimum wage job that you would have worked before college too, or whatever your situation may be, and then you hop on YouTube, you hop on TikTok, and you see Andrew Tate, you see Joe Rogan, you see
Mhm.
Theo Vaughn. It's the easiest way to brainwash a human being ever. And the Republicans are preying on them.
Exactly.
Like yes, there is a lot of work to be done with minority rights, with women rights, especially with LGBTQ rights. Like, I'm not saying that there's nothing to be done, but at the same time, like the straight dude needs some help occasionally too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Men
We're
men have been like crying out for help, and it's been like it's not your time, and it's just like, hey, it kind of needs to be my time. You look at like suicide rates, you look at like deaths of despair, overdoses. It's
exactly.
disproportionately men, and like it's okay to address that if we have proven this population is going through some pretty rough things as a group.
100%.
Exactly. I mean, we have neglected our boys for too long, and it's just heartbreaking to see as a country.
Like the whole controversy over the kid at Doge getting fired, and now they want to bring him back. Like, why do we think he's tweeting out saying that, like, I would never marry, like, I wouldn't take money to marry someone from another race? Why do we think he's tweeting out stuff like that? Like,
Yeah.
realistically, like, he probably got rejected by a couple of Indian women and turned into an incel and hates them now. That
Wild.
that's probably the pathway that happened there. And now now he has access to all of our social security information.
Yep, exactly.
Like,
It's
that is the
horrifying.
full circle to all of this,
It's horrifying.
right? Like, and just to think that they preyed on it and they used it as a way to just get easy voters, and they don't have a single plan at making their lives better.
Yeah, and
Because
it's gonna
like
get worse. They're gonna get
it's if
more mad.
it goes unchecked, I legitimately think that we see unprecedented suicide rates in this country. And I think just a whole lot of, like you said, Conrad, just a whole lot of self-harm. Because like
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think most women would go out with like one of these like people that are spouting this
No.
information, or like an Andrew Tate listener. I don't think a woman would happily go out unless she's a little psychotic.
I mean, would you? Like,
No,
I wouldn't. I mean, no.
not at all.
Yeah,
It's
date dating's like goofy. Like I listen to Scott Galloway a
I
lot.
love Scott Galloway. I love Scott Galloway so much.
It, and he was kind of ringing the alarms on this a year ago. He was pretty ahead of it. And he was just there's so many things that are mentally stacked up against young men, like the dating economy he calls. It's the most unequal economy in the world. You have 5% of men getting 90% of the attention on dating apps. And like if you're if you're in that 95%, like that's devastating. That is
it.
absolutely devastating. And like I don't know. The pandemic like took a lot of that organic mingling at bars and like kind of figuring just like going through life, being exposed to people doing different things. And I think it robbed a lot of maturing experiences
Mhm.
for younger people.
And then circling back to the empathy conversation, if you don't interact with trans people, you don't interact with gay people, you don't interact with minorities, obviously you're not going to feel any sympathy for them or what they're going through. You're
Hmm.
going to be
Exactly.
like, I'm going through all of this, no one cares about me, and then you're once again going to become an incel on the internet.
Yeah, it's you. I mean, and on top of that, it's like you see all this stuff, and I'm going to use the Harris campaign as an example, but it's not a good example. It's like, oh, women are under attack right now. You know, we're losing our bodily autonomy, which is all true. They are, and but men will see that, or like young men will see that, and be like, oh, but I'm getting hurt, so I'm going to vote for Trump because I don't care about you. We're getting attacked. It's
Mm-hmm.
like shit like that.
And I think that just in general, not even in terms of trying to win the election or anything else, just out of the cause of pure human decency,
Hmm.
we have to our elected officials, us as everyday people, we gotta help them out.
We do.
Yeah. I mean, it's 50% of the population, right? Half of us are not doing well in these very specific things. And that's the
Like,
purpose of government. How do we help these people out?
and I think that's the biggest change that we've had. And like this is the argument that I was having with someone in my TikTok comment section today, is people don't understand that the role of government should be to help its citizens,
Yeah,
Hmm.
100%.
which is insane. Like why like right now, if you took out the entire US government right now, our lives would probably be better because right now they are actively hurting our everyday lives and our everyday livelihood and our futures. But during the Obama administration, during Lyndon B. Johnson's term, especially during FDR, um, unless you were Japanese, obviously that was a massive, blunder and horrible thing that happened. But the government was helping you, not the other way around. And we have gone
Hmm.
full circle on that, back to what it was like in, when Carnegie and Rockefeller were running this country, basically. And we're gonna have to repeat all of it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. History is doomed to repeat itself, right?
Yeah. Which, as a history nerd, is really infuriating.
It is.
I think with how fast information spreads now, this might be on an accelerated timeline, the way everybody can communicate. And I think like the efficiency of destruction is going to lead to big problems quickly that they're not going to be able to get out in front of.
No, not at all.
There's 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 only going to be a few times where like the dude's still blaming Obama, and like he was president after Obama. And it's just kind of like I think when people's day-to-day is truly interrupted, it will take a little bit of time. They'll be like, what?
Like, I think, and this is an example that probably will happen. They very openly touted that Doge is going to look at airplane safety now,
Oh
and
God.
that they're going to look at aviation safety. And
Jesus.
just given the way things are going, there have already been like after DC, after Philadelphia, there have been some minor accidents as well and like close
Uh,
calls. A
One
lot
in
more.
Alaska.
Yep.
Yep.
There's going to be another crash. Once again, not something that I want to happen, not something that I'm rooting for it to happen. It would like if it I hope it doesn't happen. But the way things are going, there will be another crash because you just don't have enough people to do it. And once again, the idiots running around the internet cheering that, ooh, they're cutting, making all of these cuts. Look at what a good job Doge is doing. You're not realizing how stupid you are. But when there's another crash, the direct person to blame is Elon Musk because he said we are going to make flying safer. And you
I
have to hammer them on that. They
you do.
already there are already more they already have more than 100 lives on their death toll in this administration. And it's going to
Yeah.
keep adding,
Mm.
especially when, the CDC can't report on anything and you have the largest tuberculosis outbreak in the United States happening right now in Kansas.
Oh, I think TV has moved its way to like Michigan and Ohio.
Jesus.
Like
Horrifying.
it's like there's a lot of scary medical things going on where it's like that avian flu is running through
And
poultry all across the United States. It's getting into bovines, so like the whole raw milk thing. Like we have a lot of transmission exposures. Um, those are things like I'm 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 watching for.
oh, and like there will be major public health crises in this country during this administration. There will be major financial crises in this administration. There will be major international relations crises in this administration. And what we can't do as the American people is let him get off the hook again. We
No.
let him off the hook once. People forgot that he is the reason that COVID was so bad in this country.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's the problem. Going just circling back to Democrats, we're just not able to message our ideas saying that look, this was Trump's fault and we're trying to fix it. And it's just instant gratification in this nation where it's like if things don't go away instantly, I'm sorry, but you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, objectively, the economy was doing very well under Biden. Inflation was going down and all that stuff, but we're going to lose all that progress now under Trump. And
I
when
mean,
Americans see that, they're gonna elect a Democrat, then they're gonna see
yeah,
the Democrat
but
didn't fix it immediately, and then they're gonna elect a Republican
this
again.
is this has been an issue going back to George Bush, where a Republican royally fucks up the economy by do it by with like with avoidable mistakes,
Yep.
and then the Democrat comes in, fixes things wonderfully, and then somehow gets killed on the economy.
Because we don't know how to message ourselves. We're stupid.
And
We love talking about other issues that aren't the biggest issue.
yeah,
And I love healthcare. Healthcare is a huge issue and we need to focus on healthcare, but I'm sorry, the only thing that we should ever be talking about is the economy and nothing else. As
yep,
Democrats, just straight marketing, just
yep,
nothing else. Everything you talk about, let's say they ask you a question about healthcare, you're like, oh yeah, I'm in favor of universal healthcare, but this is going to affect the economy because it's going to add so many new jobs it's going to add new jobs to the economy. You're going to be able to save $5,000 a year on healthcare and just stuff like that.
I
Circle
that
everything back to
exactly,
the economy.
exactly.
Do you
Like
think it would be helpful for the Democrats to put out like a 12-year vision, like what they would accomplish in a
I
12-year
don't
presidency?
not a
I would
12-year
love
vision,
that. Yes.
not a
I
12-year
I
vision. I
I
think we
think
need
Just
a
12-year
like,
vision would be perfect.
I think coinciding with that, we need our Project 2029 to be written up right the fuck now.
I
yeah.
think I
Just don't call it that.
100% agree with you, Conrad, where Democrats are so, what's the word? We have no plan for the future. We have plans for right now. And that's where the Republicans eat our lunch. They've been planning getting rid of Roe v. Wade since the second it got passed in the 70s. This has been a 50-year plan and it worked masterfully. Democrats don't do shit like that. We are just too in our own heads at that exact second, and it kills us. And this has always happened. And we do need a 12-year plan. I think that would be a great idea.
Well, I mean, that would be like, I think if we had, the world looks very different with like a Clinton presidency. The world looks completely different with a Harris presidency. And
Yep.
I think like if we put the vision of just like, hey, like let's just let's just have an adult be at the table, like running things. Like let's just broadcast into the future what needs to get done. Give us
Mhm.
12 years.
Mhm. I think, yeah, talk about how you would fix healthcare, talk about how you would fix the economy and I think the other thing that Democrats have to realize is that the stock market doing good and the numbers looking good does not mean that the economy is doing good for the everyday person.
Yep.
The economy doing good for the everyday person means that they can get up and they don't have to work four different jobs to make ends meet and to pay rent. It means that you can get up and you can allow yourself to think about a better future where you can work for yourself instead of working for a company and working a 9 to 5 job. You have the
Mm,
opportunity to do different things. And once again, the United States used to be like that, which is why people want to move here, which is why my parents moved here when I was 5, is because the United States gives you the opportunity to do things like that, but they don't anymore. Because right now, like someone raised a very good point, another content creator, when I had him on my YouTube channel in the over the summer, is Canada has so many more influencers than we do because they're guaranteed healthcare, so they have the opportunity to pursue that full time without trying to struggle for a job,
Yeah.
right?
That's a
And
great point.
just little things like that. Like right now, if I wanted to have my own business, like right now, I could probably waste like, a year or two doing it because I'm under my parents' insurance until 26. But once 26 hits and I have to pay for my own insurance somehow, if I'm not having an employer pay for it, I will have no money left
Yeah.
if
Oh,
I don't go
exactly.
through an insurance like if I, go by myself. The other thing, like if we're talking about a 12-year plan, the other thing, get rid of the middleman when it comes to healthcare.
Yep.
Get rid of them.
Yeah.
Why should we not just be able to go to a doctor, get a dental procedure done, and come back home? Why do they need to contact the insurance company?
Yeah. I mean,
I agree.
Right?
with the health
Why?
insurance industry, I feel like there are so many, like those conglomerates, they're all vertically integrated. Like they have pharmaceutical benefit
Mhm.
managers. Like they Evapor is a company that does prior authorizations for Cigna, but it's a subsidiary of Cigna. And it's like we need to break all of that up because it's way too efficient at denying care. It's just not working for anything.
Mhm.
I
Like,
think the insurance industry in general is just the most evil industry in America. And just the fact that they're able to deny claims or that they're able to deny anything just because they're going to lose money, I think that's just inherently
like,
extremely evil. And if it were up to me, I'd get rid of it all. I'd just
yeah.
have the government run it. I mean,
Imagine a
why
world
not?
without the insurance agency. Everything will be faster
Yep.
because you don't have to go through that middleman. The other
Yep.
thing, the middleman needs to make billions of dollars in profit somehow to keep their shareholders happy.
Mm,
So once you get rid of that, then guess what happens? Now there's no middleman. Now it's just you and the doctor,
Exactly.
and you can do what you got to do. Like, and the people's number one argument to universal healthcare is, oh, there'll be lines because you're going to go to the doctor for every
There's
single
lines
thing.
either way.
Dude, I had to literally get a tooth extracted, and both the surgeons that we talked to had availability on the 19th and the 20th, and my dentist literally had to call them and say that he needs to go get this done, and then they were like, you can come right now and we'll do it. So they
It's
had the
crazy.
time, like they had the ability to do it, they just weren't.
oh
I
wow.
mean, it's ridiculous where like if you and your doctor make a decision on your health and the insurance company says no, it's going to cost too much money.
Like,
Or let's look at Florida right now too. And this isn't just health insurance; it's homeowners insurance too. The state of Florida, you can't get homeowners insurance anymore because it's too risky for them. But like you have to own homeowners insurance in a lot of places. It's evil. They will deny your claim. You pay into a system every month, right? You'll pay like I don't know $1,300 every month, or you have Cadillac insurance. Something happens to you, they'll look at it and be like, "Yeah, I know you paid for the last 5 years, but fuck you."
basically, dude,
I mean,
my when I got my first knee surgery, we went to a surgeon that was in network.
mhm.
Then I hurt my knee a second time. I needed a second knee surgery 3 years later. And guess what? That surgeon was suddenly out of network. And I was like to my parents, I'm like, I do not want to get this done by someone other than the guy that's already done it once. I want to go to him again. So obviously we went to him because that just makes common sense. But it wasn't in network anymore.
Yeah,
It's just like I went when I was in Erie and I had to go to the hospital and go to the ER just so I could get blood work done. We got like $180 bill for that.
mhm.
Yeah.
Like that is outrageous.
It's ridiculous.
It is.
I kind Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so
No,
sorry.
you're good. You're good. You're good. I mean,
I
yeah.
I was I was I was gonna just I have a little, not like hot take with like Florida and now California and these catastrophic like weather events. It's going to be a very hard conversation I think we're going to have as Americans. But if this I know like half the population's not in on it, but if climate change is inevitable, we can't keep rebuilding your home where it was. And we're
Ooh,
gonna
that
have
is
to
a hot take.
like we can't like keep, just financially it doesn't make sense for you to keep living there when you know every 5 years you might not live there anymore. And it's going to become the
I
reality, I think, of our lives.
I
I
don't agree
agree.
Climate,
with. I think that when like when after Hurricane Helene, like you're rebuilding North Carolina, you're rebuilding Florida. I think it has to be rebuilt with that in mind that another hurricane is probably going to come, and you have to build your houses, you have to build your structures in a way that they hold up to that. Like that's what they've kind of been able to do in San Francisco and Japan is they've been able to
mm,
make build buildings in a way that they're resistant to earthquakes and like everything isn't coming crumbling down every single time something happens. Like there are ways to do that for there are ways to and once again full circle to something that we mentioned previously when we're talking about the government should act like Shark Tank in a way and invest in business startup ideas that will help citizens. If someone comes up with a building technique or building material that is fire resistant and still gives you all the other benefits of what a structure needs, or will do a better
yeah,
job resisting a flood, invest in that.
yeah,
Don't invest in sending SpaceX and don't invest $20 billion in SpaceX sending rockets that ultimately end up exploding and make everything worse.
Yep, 100%.
Um, just to wrap up and like switch gears a little bit. Last week we talked about Stephen A. Smith and how he might potentially run for something at some point. And I think since we had that conversation, it has only grown,
oh
He's
wow,
running. He's running
right?
for president. I'm telling
Because
you.
the next literally I think the next day or the day after Front Office Sports had an entire article about it. Um best performing TikTok in a very long time has like 1,300 views.
Ooh.
Um but also once again went on Hannity right after, went on Chris Cuomo show right after, was on Bill Maher right before
wow.
that article came out, and guess who he had on his podcast
Who?
today? They taped it today. Guess who it was?
Who?
Josh Shapiro.
He's running.
Wow.
He's gonna run. I'm telling you, you get that idea that you want to be president in your head, it never
It
leaves.
it
He's
won't
gonna
leave.
run in 4 years. He's gonna get his ass kicked. He's gonna stand a chance in hell. But like,
Once again, I think him being able to go and humiliate Sean Hannity and humiliate Fox News every single time he goes on there is phenomenal. But I think him being able to hold the Democrats accountable is also much needed.
Hmm.
Like, I think like he can explain his argument in a way that unless he's actively trying to, like he did with Kwame Brown back in the day, like he can make his point and make a credible argument without acting like a douchebag,
yep,
right? And I think the Democrats need that to hold themselves accountable. The Republicans, like he eviscerates them as he
he
should.
does.
And he
Hmm.
literally tweeted out the other day saying that I'm independently Bernie Sanders. Like, let him cut. He's Oliver. You're absolutely right. He's gonna get his ass kicked, but he's gonna start conversations that need to happen. And then when we talk about role models for younger men to look up to, I think all
Yeah.
of us grow up wanting to be Stephen A. Smith
Hmm.
or wanting to be something like him, wanting to like him. Like I think all of us have had like the ooh, imagine if I just got paid to talk about sports on TV thought in our head.
No,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
And
real.
he is the embodiment of that, and he is the most successful one of that. The only other guy that's like up there is Pat McAfee, and Pat McAfee, as of right now, he's not even old enough to run for president yet, but like he's still in his frat boy stage. Um,
Damn. Wait, he's how old is he?
Pat Mac,
Yeah, he's like what, 34?
I think he's like 35
Oh,
or
he's
36.
really,
Yeah, he
wow.
is. Let's.
He's been out of the league for so long. It's
He
crazy.
retired when he was 29. Pat McAfee's
Oh,
37.
30. Oh, he
37.
can run for
Okay.
president.
He can't. Oh, 35.
Yeah, 35.
I
35.
don't know why I thought it was 45. Um, but I think Stephen A. Smith is just like it's a voice that is badly needed in the party.
I would love to
Yeah.
see what he has to say. I would love to see him on a debate stage. I don't think he stands a chance in hell, but I would just love to see it. I've definitely grown on the idea of Mark Cuban running. I mean, you guys have definitely really it is definitely a very interesting idea. And I don't think it's honestly the way you guys describe it's really not a terrible idea. Um,
Well,
Andy Bashir would be cool too, but
I
I don't know.
think Chris Murphy should definitely think about it with
He will. He
right.
will. Oh, for
Um,
sure.
with Mark Cuban, and this kind of connects to the sports conversation from earlier.
Mhm.
Like we saw what Mark Cuban was as an owner. Like Mark Cuban was literally like the everybody's dream of when they say I want to own a sports team. Like literally going to every game, being involved, like shooting. He was literally at every shoot around shooting with them.
Mark Cuban would not have traded Luka Doncic.
Never. Mark Cuban 2 years ago said that he would rather get a divorce from his wife than trade Luca. He said that in public out loud.
Based.
Right? So based. But why would he sell? Why would he sell them? If he loved
Money.
having the team so much, why would he sell? I think he is going to do something in politics. Like there's
So
no
instead
other
of
way that you sell the
president,
Mavs.
but instead of president, you know what I think wouldn't I talked about this with my dad. Governor of Texas, senator.
Or
I
senator
mean,
from
those
Texas.
are both up. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see Abbott just retire. I mean, he probably won't retire. It's Abbott's seat until it isn't. But let's say Abbott, for whatever reason, takes a higher position in Trump's administration. I don't know. Kristi Noem dies. Abbott takes that seat. Um, Dan Patrick versus Mark Cuban. That's an extremely winnable race for the Democrats. Dan Patrick is Satan himself.
And once again, and I saw someone make this argument. Mark Cuban is probably fiscally conservative, as he
Mhm.
should be. He wants to keep his money. There's a reason that he lives in Texas.
Yeah.
But Mark Cuban is the best type of billionaire because he realizes that any social issue whatsoever does not impact his bottom line. In fact, it'll probably make him more money to be progressive on
Exactly.
social issues. And he is actively in the private space making healthcare better for people every single day.
I
So
think it would be cool if have you ever heard of the concept of a shadow cabinet?
Elon
Yeah.
Musk,
No, like Timothy Snyder said like over in England they'll have like a resistance cabinet or shadow cabinet where the opposition party will like they'll basically pick I don't know like I would say for example Doge like Mark
mm-hmm.
Cuban would be the Doge person for like the Democrats.
Yep.
For you would have a press secretary, everything like that, like certain people that follow what's going on in them and what they would do different, and
Mm-hmm.
almost like appoint like an all-star cabinet, a de
Yeah.
facto
That's
authority
definitely
on.
something that we should do.
I like it.
I was thinking about talking about this with y'all, and this can be one of our last points to wrap this up. But I think there should I think it's all in my mind. It's already crossed so many constitutional boundaries that this should probably happen. But I think at some point there needs to be a press conference, and not for once again not to help us win an election or anything, just for the sake of this country. I think there needs to be a press conference of the alive presidents, former presidents,
That'd be
and
interesting.
and I think just like
Yeah.
a bipartisan, just this is blatantly unconstitutional and this is un-American.
That'd
And
be
I
an interesting
and
thing
I
to see.
think it you don't need to have Clinton and Biden there. Like just let Obama and Bush run a conf. Like for
Have
that,
them talk.
let Barack Obama and
Or
George
hell,
Bush have a
n-
podcast. That would
not even Obama. Have Biden and Bush talk. I feel like
yeah,
that'd be very interesting.
yeah. Have them talk.
Two old white
and,
men.
and,
I
and
feel like
yeah,
Yeah.
and have them talk about how they disagree and how they work through it, model the
And
behavior.
one
because they've
hundred
worked together for a
they
really
can
long time.
also talk about because I think Donald Trump is obviously this cult-like figure for Republicans now. But if anybody was like that before Donald Trump, it was Ronald Reagan. They
Mhm.
can invoke Reagan's name because they worked with Reagan.
Oh yeah.
And
Mm.
they can say that Ronald Reagan said this about foreign aid. Ronald Reagan said this about the Department of Education and just eviscerate them.
Yep. Bush was a big Reagan on it. Yeah.
Are you
That's
ready?
all I have to say. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well,
Sweet.
thank you guys for watching another episode of The Arena. Let us know what you think in the comments. We will see you again next week. Peace.
Awesome.